host the World Cup 2026. Sports are woven into the fabric of our town, and we have the stadiums and the venues to prove it. We have ample spaces for multiple games and plenty of pitch on which to practice. Two of our most accommodating facilities are downtown and walking distance to fantastic hotels and fashionable restaurants. With our diverse population, Cincinnati has the culture, heritage, and workforce to welcome fans from all over the world with translators and suppliers ready to roll out the red carpet. Our park system winds along the picturesque Ohio River, offering breathtaking vistas just waiting for fans to celebrate their World Cup teams. Our location can't be beat. Our award-winning international airport is perfectly situated to receive visitors from all over the world. And 60% of the U.S. population can drive to the Queen City within 8 hours. Our businesses are ready to open their doors to partner with FIFA. Kroger and Procter & Gamble have committed to making 2026 a sustainable World Cup. With world-class facilities, internationally friendly corporations, and a rich, diverse population, the choice is clear. Cincinnati is the best home to host World Cup 2026.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about Cincinnati. My name is Jeff Birding, and I am the co-CEO of FC Cincinnati and a member of the executive committee of our LOC, our World Cup LOC. We appreciate the honor to present Cincinnati. I'm going to introduce you to my fellow Cincinnatians joining me today. We have our new mayor, Aftab Pureval, from the city of Cincinnati. Aftab Pureval is the 70th mayor of Cincinnati. He was raised in Southwest Ohio, the son of first-generation Americans. He's making history as Cincinnati's first Asian American mayor. As mayor, he's committed to serving Cincinnati's 52 neighborhoods. He has made equitable economic growth a top priority of his administration, as well as comprehensive reform and improvement of public safety, affordable housing, and environmental action. Please welcome Mayor Aftab Pureval.
What's up, guys? Thanks so much for having us. We're bringing a little Cincinnati swagger to all of you, so I hope you're ready for this.
Amy Spiller, president of Duke Energy Ohio and Kentucky, and our also 2026 Cincy LOC. She's our human rights co-chair. Amy is the president of Duke Energy's utility operations in Ohio and Kentucky, which serves approximately almost 1 million electric customers and over 500,000 natural gas customers. She's accountable for advancing the company's rate and regulatory initiatives, managing government relations, economic development, community affairs functions throughout the region. She serves as the co-chair, as I noted, of the Human Rights Committee for the 2026 Cincy LOC. Please welcome Amy Spiller.
Thanks, Jeff, and good to be with all of you this afternoon.
Julie Calvert is the president and CEO of the Cincinnati, USA Convention and Visitors Bureau, also a member of the 2026 Cincy LOC. As president and CEO of the Cincinnati, USA Convention and Visitors Bureau, she leads the region's destination marketing and management organization. Her strategic vision and collaborative approach maximizes the size and impact of Cincinnati's visitor economy and expands the region's travel, tourism, and convention industries. She serves on the executive committee of our Cincy 2026 LOC. Welcome, Julie Calvert.
Thank you, Jeff. Excited to be here today to talk about the bid for Cincinnati, hopefully educate you a little more about what we have to offer and the excitement that's going to come in 2026 for Cincinnati.
All right. And Gary Lindgren is the president of the Cincinnati Business Committee and is also on the 2026 Cincy LOC Executive Committee. As the president of the Cincinnati Business Committee, the CBC, founded in 1977, provides a forum for the top leaders in Cincinnati's 30 largest businesses and most influential companies. He serves on the executive committee of our LOC and is one of our top leaders in Cincinnati's business community in his own right. So please welcome Gary Lindgren.
Hey. Thanks, Jeff. This is a great event. We're happy to be here. Look forward to spending some time with you today.
All right. So FC Cincinnati began in 2016. And at the end of our first year, we had an opportunity to apply for Major League Soccer expansion and simultaneously send a letter to FIFA and U.S. Soccer expressing our interest in hosting the 2026 World Cup as a part of what became the United bid. So from our first letter in 2017, Cincinnati's focused our hosting opportunity, our bid, on three important tenets: world-class facilities, world-class venues that'll support our teams, the teams that'll come in to Cincinnati, all aligned with FIFA specifications. 2, human rights initiatives. We're a very progressive, inclusive community, and we knew that that was going to be a key to World Cup and FIFA. And then 3, of course, the fan amenities and the experience for all the tens of thousands of visitors who will make their way to Cincinnati for matches. So we've also been focused on the legacy of how hosting the world's largest sporting event can make a long-lasting impact in Cincinnati, right in the heartland of our country. So, a little Q&A here. To our new mayor, Mayor Pureval.
Yes, Jeff. What do you got for me?
Well, first of all, it appears that you're the good luck charm for Cincinnati sports.
I wasn't going to say anything, but that's right. It's all about me.
Since the mayor's been elected, the University of Cincinnati made the college football playoff, and of course, the Bengals last month made it to the Super Bowl.
Ahead of schedule.
So the good luck charm maybe could extend to winning the World Cup bid, right? That's the goal.
That's absolutely the goal. That's why we're here.
So what do you think about Cincinnati being able to rise to the occasion, right? Not everyone's thinking Cincinnati, but tell us why you think Cincinnati, how we can rise to the occasion.
Those people are wrong. Cincinnati is the future. We are the future. Cincinnati is next. Our city is on fire right now. With all due respect to the other cities represented at this convention, Cincinnati right now is at the heart of America's sporting world. With our UC Bearcats going to the college football playoff, with the Bengals going to the Super Bowl, TQL Stadium, the newest stadium in the MLS, the crown jewel of the MLS, just recently hosted the U.S. versus Mexico game and frankly knocked it out of the park. And like our teams, our city is diverse, is hungry. We've got that Cincinnati swagger. Our neighborhoods are dense and diverse and walkable with good public transportation. Folks, you can get dropped off in the middle of our city center and walk to a Major League Baseball game. You can walk to an NFL game. You can walk to a building designed by the late, great Zaha Hadid. You can walk to some of the top-ranked restaurants in the country, all within walking distance. That's happening right now in Cincinnati. We are on fire. People who come to Cincinnati do not leave. If you don't believe me, choose Cincinnati.
Well, I have to say, that sounds attractive. The mayor and I were both at the Super Bowl, and we spent a lot of time in Ubers on the highway. So being able to walk to all the destinations, that sounds pretty inviting.
No shots at Mayor Garcetti. Love that guy.
All right, Amy. The Human Rights Initiative for Cincinnati's bid has been a really important part of the LOC. We spent a lot of time working what we're doing to improve human rights in Cincinnati. Please share a few of the key initiatives around human rights and some of the best practices that we think we can bring to all of our host city partners.
Yeah, Jeff, happy to do that. And I will say we already have an incredibly solid foundation when it comes to advancing human rights. And I'm going to talk just about a couple of the activities. One of those is a very strong partnership with the Attorneys General in both Ohio and Kentucky. These are individuals who are deeply committed to protecting human rights. They have built out a network of experts who are not just prosecuting offenders, they're educating, they're training, they're protecting, and they very quickly engaged with us. We have their support and their resources today and every day leading up to that World Cup match in 2026. We already have businesses in Cincinnati like Duke Energy that are training their public-facing employees to recognize and report the signs of human trafficking. And we're engaging with and listening to rights holders, those who are most susceptible to the inequities. We want to know their experiences. We want to learn from them so that we can, in turn, implement sustained solutions. And I will assure you, the innovative entrepreneurial spirit is alive and well in Cincinnati, and we will leverage that spirit to make sure that there is equitable access to the tools that everyone needs to safely and securely experience World Cup play in Cincinnati in 2026.
Thank you, Amy. So, Gary, the first call we made in 2017 was to the Cincinnati business community. Carl Lindner and I, we know how things get done in Cincinnati. It's when the business community, civic leaders, and the governmental leaders all come together to make big things happen. Tell us why this is so important to the business community that some of the leading business leaders in this country who are in Cincinnati signed on to lead this effort.
Yeah, as Jeff said, I mean, we have a tremendous business community in Cincinnati. We're fortunate. The company's put a lot of time, talent, energy into issues ranging from economic development to education reform, equity, but really aligned with, as Jeff said, our political and other civic leadership to make things happen in the community. And when the call came, as Jeff said, in addition to Carl Linder, his owner, and the co-CEO of American Financial Group, we made 3 other calls. David Taylor, the CEO of Procter & Gamble, Rodney McMullen, the CEO of Kroger Company, and Barbara Turner, the CEO of Ohio National. 3 phone calls, 3 yeses. They all stepped up and they said, this is something that we need to do. And they want to do it because they're proud of the city and they're proud of the heritage. They're proud of the arts and culture. They're proud of the restaurants and nightlife and all the reasons that our mayor just shared with you. And they want to share that with the world. Cincinnati is a welcoming place. You may have seen we want to welcome the world to Cincinnati and show what we have to offer. We also have a great sports history. The Bengals, as we talked about, the country's first professional baseball team, obviously the great rise of FC Cincinnati into the MLS. And we also view ourselves, I think, the business community views this as a Midwestern bit. It's just not Cincinnati. Cincinnati's in the heartland of America. And we have great support from partners Columbus, Cleveland, Indy, Detroit, and others. So business community is excited to show off the city and show what Cincinnati has to offer.
Thanks, Gary. So when we're going to bring tens of thousands of visitors to Cincinnati from all over the world, we have to roll out the red carpet. So Julie, talk a little bit about what you anticipate the steps and how we're going to make happen rolling out that red carpet to visitors from all over the globe.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. So first of all, hospitality and Cincinnati are synonymous with each other. We have such a rich history of hosting major international events, national events, where the city just comes out and wraps themselves around these events. We want to treat our visitors like they live here in Cincinnati. You heard the mayor say that if you don't, choose Cincinnati, be here, be with us. And so for us, that means making sure that we have plenty of volunteers on the streets, making sure that the restaurants, the hotels, the bars, the retailers are all engaged in what we're doing, that the whole city, during 2026 will be plastered of World Cup soccer. So you won't have to turn far to realize what the event is and what's happening and what it really means to this community. There are a lot of communities that when these big tourism events come, say, well, we're just going to stay in the suburbs, we're going to stay home, we're not going to be a part of that. That's not the case in Cincinnati. We come, we engage, we want to show you our city, we want to create a sense of belonging for our visitors that come, because again, nobody moves to a city that they don't visit first. And for us, it's about growing our population, about growing our city, growing our base, and to do that through these high-profile, really strong tourism driver events is one way to really show off the best of your city. And the great thing for us is when those events end and people go home, the excitement, the engagement doesn't end. We look to the next thing. What's coming next? How can we do this better and more often? So we're ready to roll it out. We're ready for people to come and visit. And when you come to Cincinnati, you're going to really feel like you belong there.
6,000 visitors, 6,000 local citizens have signed up to volunteer to help the hosting of the World Cup bid. 6,000 in just a few months. We obviously put on the Flying Pig Marathon, which relies on lots of visitors. USA, Mexico, and I enjoyed spending a lot of time with folks who came from all over the world to come to that soccer match, and obviously it was just electric.
Well, we've hosted the All-Star Game in 2015 in Cincinnati. We also have a major tennis tournament, the Western and Southern Open, which brings together the top 20 players from across the world into Cincinnati every single year. 60,000 visitors come over the course of a week to that event. So, and again, and all of these are dependent upon a strong volunteer corps to make sure that we get those things done. International events coming to Cincinnati that bring 40 countries from around the world to Cincinnati. And so again, with that, it takes the whole city. It's not just a core group of people planning, but it takes the whole city, the whole region to really make sure that we're taking care of those visitors.
Thank you, Julie. So, Mayor Pureval.
Yes.
What initiatives, tell us some of the things that you have going as a newly elected mayor to help prepare Cincinnati to successfully host World Cup.
Yeah, I've been in office 8 weeks, my administration, this new city council, and our bold vision, the bold actions that we've frankly already taken is completely in line with the goals and values and priorities of FIFA and the World Cup. Climate, housing, racial equity, just to name a few. We're already leading as a city, as a region, frankly, on bold climate initiatives. The biggest city-led solar farm in the country is in Cincinnati. Cincinnati is one of the most connected cities in the entire country for broadband, and we are making historic investments into our infrastructure to make sure that we're set up for the electric vehicle revolution that is on our doorstep. As it relates to housing, this council and myself have made extraordinary transformational investments into our affordable housing trust fund to ensure that no matter what you look like, where you're from, or how much money you have a chance in our city to have access to good, quality, and affordable, and most importantly, safe housing so that you can create the economic activity and future that you need for yourself and your family. And then finally, racial equity. And racial equity is a buzzword that gets thrown around. It's rhetorical, but for me, it means ownership. Black ownership of homes, businesses, and neighborhoods. And this council and I have already taken really strong steps in order to put the pieces together for transformational change in our convention center hotel, and our convention center districts with incredible goals for minority-owned and women-owned business participation in those subcontracts. Look, with the kind of investment that an international event, the biggest international event in the history of the world, can bring on a city like Cincinnati, what we're focused on for this investment is the World Cup, and FIFA has the opportunity to create the next generation of black millionaires in Cincinnati. That's the kind of transformational change that I'm thinking about, that we're thinking about, that our business leaders are thinking about. And the only way that happens is if our political leaders and our business leaders are on the same page. And in Cincinnati, we are. And again, it's more than just talk. Cincinnati is a special place. I know that personally. My mom is a Tibetan refugee. She grew up in India as a refugee. She met my father, who's from Punjab, India. They immigrated, of all places, to Beaver Creek, Ohio in 1980. In one generation, my family went from being refugees to now the mayor of Cincinnati. And folks, that only happens in the Queen City. That's the same brand awareness, that's the same mission that I know is very important to FIFA and the World Cup.
Now, I'll add to that. So from a sporting perspective, our stadium, TQL Stadium, built in a historic African-American neighborhood that has seen significant disinvestment. 70% inclusion on the stadium project. We're very proud of that. But we've also started soccer in the neighborhood of the West End. And part of our legacy for the World Cup bid is to address that there are soccer deserts in many of the communities around Cincinnati who, like the West End, never had soccer. They have basketball, they have baseball, maybe football, never had soccer. And the importance of that is, in my opinion, if you're going to have billionaires, if you're going to have equity, is the role of coaches. Coaches, to have kids believing in big dreams and big goals and making that a safe place for kids. And so we're determined as a part of our legacy, and we're already doing this. We're building inner city pitches, we're starting soccer programs, but we have to have more soccer because soccer means more coaches, means more teachers, it means more support, and ultimately we think it's going to lead to great outcomes for all these kids throughout our region.
Absolutely.
All right, Amy, this Human Rights Leadership Committee that you've led with Katie Blackburn, the owner of the Cincinnati Bengals, comprises some 30 subject matters, 30 different initiatives that we've identified as well-aligned with FIFA's human rights goals. Tell us a little bit about the collaborative spirit that brings 30 different topic areas all together in one human rights subcommittee for our 2026 LOC.
Thanks, Jeff. And I think you would agree with me from the comments, whether it was Gary, Julie, Mayor Aftab, or Jeff, Cincinnati very quickly collaborates. And I will tell you, as we think about human rights, it's important. It's important to all of us in the future for our region. And the work that we're doing in this particular area is led by a diverse collection of subject matter experts. Subject matter experts who range from those rights holders, the everyday experts who day in and day out are exposed to circumstances that need improvement. They also include a congressman who is advancing federal legislation around human rights. And everyone was so quick to come together to collaborate because, again, this is Cincinnati. And I will share with you that over the last 2 years, our resolve around collaboration was only strengthened. To think what the Cincinnati region did to so quickly unite to support and protect those who were disproportionately disadvantaged by the last 24 months. And we're not talking just about a pandemic, but about civil unrest, racial inequities, social injustice, and the strides that we're making in Cincinnati today in those areas, as Mayor Aftab noted, is pretty remarkable. So Jeff, we collaborate. That's what we do. And we have learned about the power of transparent engagement and collaboration, and we will harness that power to bring just an incredible experience for everyone in 2026.
Thank you. So, of course, it requires collaboration, but it does require leadership as well. And we are so blessed in Cincinnati to have the Kroger Company and Procter & Gamble. Gary, when this opportunity came to host FIFA on their visit, the opportunity to host 2026 World Cup, we didn't just get David Taylor and Rodney McMullen to say, yeah, you can be on you can use my name, but they actually came to us with an idea that was pretty extraordinary. Tell us a little bit about their idea.
Yeah. So, part of the U.S., Mexico, Canada bid included an effort to make the World Cup the first zero-waste World Cup. And we're fortunate that Kroger and P&G have really prioritized environmental sustainability and social impact as their corporate missions as well. So led by David Taylor and Rodney McMullen, some of the folks on their team, and the 30 or so business leaders that we have on the LOC, they started kind of digging in and saying, what could we do to really make this happen? And not just in Cincinnati, but for the entire World Cup in North America. And so Kroger already has an effort around zero hunger, zero waste. They have 34, I think it is, manufacturing facilities that are currently zero waste. Their 2,700 stores are on track in the next several years to be zero waste. and they by 2025 will have donated 3 billion meals for people that are hungry. P&G, similar experience. Their manufacturing facilities, many operate at zero waste. So the talent, the expertise they have in that area, we're confident that not only can we help make Cincinnati the first zero waste World Cup, but also help do that for the entire World Cup in North America.
Thank you, Gary. Okay, so now we're making the pitch. Julie, this is what you do all the time, try to bring groups, maybe not as large as FIFA, to Cincinnati. So what's the pitch?
So the pitch is this. Everything that our community has done, that Cincinnati has done in its past, present, and will do in its future, has prepared us for this moment to hold this transformational event in Cincinnati in 2026. We have the right business community, we have the right political community, the right civic community, the right sports community. All of those things working together to create a place for the world to come and visit in 2026. We've hosted large events, we've hosted large international events, and every event that we've done has built on top of one for the next bigger thing to continue to stretch us as a community. We have the right residents, we have the right volunteer corps, we have the right place in the country. 60% of the nation's population is accessible by an hour's flight or a 4-hour drive, so we can get there. We have the right partnerships set up between 6 regional cities that gives us the opportunity for 200,000 hotel rooms within about a 3-hour drive of Cincinnati. So we have the accessibility piece there. We have the partnership piece there. And most importantly, we have the will as a community to continue to work together, build together, grow our community, grow Cincinnati, grow our talent base through these big events, grow our visitor base through these big events, and not just big events, but transformational events that take a community from good to great. And so we're ready to host you, we're ready to work together to make this happen, and there's a big will in Cincinnati to make that happen, so that's the pitch.
That's the pitch, all right. So in closing, and then we can open it up to Q&A, I think you see that Cincinnati represents the heartland of this country. It's hard for us to see how we have World Cup without being in the heartland. And I think that's why we've been successful at getting the governors of Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio, mayors from all these regional cities, because they understand you come to Cincinnati for the games, but you're going to do a day trip or a 2-day trip up to Chicago or over to Indy or some of the other. You're going to go see the Bourbon Trail or the horses down in central Kentucky. A lot of new hotels being built. I think an 800-room hotel. We just got the city and county moving on a brand new hotel 5 blocks from Paul Brown Stadium. Great partnership with the Cincinnati Bengals. Great partnership with the county. Just so happens that Paul Brown Stadium is going through a natural cycle of renovations, all aligned, as I noted earlier, with the FIFA specs. All the support we need at the government level in terms of clean zones and taxes and all the other very fine elements, we've already done them. We've already done them. So I think at the end of the day, where we come out is business, civic, government, all aligned, and then we have that great location, great regional support, and then a bit of a can-do mindset that connects the Midwest with a little bit of Southern hospitality, because we're right there on the border at the river. So in Cincinnati, FIFA and all of our visitors, all of our teams are just one phone call away from being able to get exactly what you need. One phone call away.
My cell phone number is 513-346-8401.
There you
Call
go.
me.
One phone call away.
Call me if you have questions about our World Cup bid. Call me if you'd like me to help you make travel plans to come and stay in Cincinnati.
There you go. Thank you, Mayor.
Absolutely.
So thank you all very much. We're certainly, we have a little bit of time here, so if there's any questions, I want to just note, because I see some of the folks here, of course, 17 great cities in the U.S. all competing for this. Some of them are our friends and colleagues, and we certainly have respect for everyone's bids. And certainly we're going to put our best foot forward for Cincinnati. We appreciate you being here today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. The timing. I heard. So we continue to be in regular contact with U.S. Soccer and FIFA regarding some of the specs that we have submitted. The initial understanding was it might be at some point in the first quarter or early second quarter of this year. So I think that the cities will be announced before we know it, and that's why we're certainly thrilled to be here to share the Cincinnati story, the Cincinnati pitch with you here today.
Hey guys, thank you for the presentation. My name is Marco, I'm representing the Football Business Academy. I hope you can hear me. You talked about building the next generation of black entrepreneurs and black millionaires. And I was wondering, what is your plan in terms of activating the local startup community? Is that something you're already working on, or is that something that you will activate later?
So we do have a representative on our LOC who is the leader of Cincinnati's startup ecosystem. That group has been involved in the pitch to date. But imagine if we find out now we have 3 years to prepare. So thinking of apps and other engagement opportunities where we can leverage the opportunity around World Cup and FIFA to that startup community to give them a boost. One of FC Cincinnati's owners, one of our principal owners, our alt-gov, is Meg Whitman, who took, of course, eBay from a very small company to a world-class company. And Meg has been very supportive and rolling up her sleeves in that startup ecosystem. And so we're looking to take this to the next stage around leveraging the opportunity should we be awarded.
Yeah, that'll certainly be a priority. It's a priority irrespective of the World Cup to make sure that our city is investing and creating the next generation of black entrepreneurs. That is obviously a critical part of this, but I want to challenge you to think broader. When I'm thinking about racial equity and black ownership in the historic investment of FIFA into a city like Cincinnati, we're talking about at all levels of ownership. Ownership at the tech level, ownership at the retail space, ownership at the construction and subcontractors that are going to create the hotel capacity that is going to be required to host such a world-class event. So this really does have an opportunity across all segments to impact racial equity from an economic perspective.
And I would also add, I'm going to go back to my comment about the foundation. The foundation is there, the partnerships are there. We have an organization in Cincinnati, Mortar, and Mortar is focused on minority entrepreneurship and making sure that the dreamers, those big thinkers, have the access to tools and resources that they need to be successful. And Mortar has very strong partnerships with the business community. They're recognized on the national scale. I think Mortar last year received one of Michael Jordan Foundation grants for a pretty sizable sum to continue to do the really good work that they're doing. And Mortar is just one example of those organizations that are supporting minority businesses and minority entrepreneurship in the region.
Well, I think, Jeff, you made a great point about Centrifuge, one of our leading startup organizations. And fortunately, their leader is a huge soccer fan. And so he's already been working to try to figure out how can we get the startup community involved in this bid.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name's Russell Jones. I'm from a small city in the UK called Wolverhampton. It's incredibly inspiring for me to see such a collaborative and ambitious approach from all of you, so congratulations. My question is, if you do get the bid, and I sincerely hope you do, what will success look like for each of you?
You want to go first?
Yeah. You know, success for me really is defined by growth. Cities our size have to grow, particularly in this pseudo post-pandemic world where the pandemic has completely transformed the way that we live, work, and play. Cities that are innovative and creative and flexible in this moment right now will be the ones that are thriving over the next generation. And I think bringing the World Cup to Cincinnati to solidify it as a destination for young, diverse families will only catalyze that kind of growth. My top priority as the leader of our city is to grow our skyline, grow our tax base, grow our community. And I really believe that the World Cup can help us achieve that.
I think very succinctly, success to me would be if after the World Cup match, we ask ourselves, was it worth it for everyone? And everyone says absolutely.
Julie?
You know, for us in the visitor industry, I think success looks like these events, and maybe not the bigness of a World Cup coming to Cincinnati, but these events coming more often, coming every year, that we become on a rotational basis where we're hosting these events 3 years at a time, 4 years at a time. And that people, when they think about bringing an event, they think about Cincinnati because those folks can get things done. They're going to partner with me. They're going to help me be successful. We want to be part of that city's success, and we want to be there over and over again because we want to associate ourselves with a winner. And that's what Cincinnati is.
Well, and Jeff mentioned earlier some of the work that we're already doing on the legacy projects, and FC, even before this took off, has led some of those efforts with their mini pitch programs and field development programs. But many of us, you know, me included, my daughters played in a great club. They've had great facilities, but we know that not everybody in Cincinnati has that experience. So as Jeff said, we've identified soccer deserts. We have a plan in place where we would go in and work with the park system, schools, and others that really help develop fields and facilities, whether it's mini pitches or full pitches, in a lot of those areas, and then find partners to program. So whether it's FC Cincinnati, whether it's the Cincinnati Park Board or Rec Commission, and other organizations that we're going to work to make sure that everyone has those great opportunities to be exposed to the game of soccer.
And I'll just say, we believe that sports teams, their owners, their staff, their players, have an obligation, not just an opportunity, an obligation to lead, inspire, and unite. And so we want to use the opportunity around World Cup to ensure that we are leading, inspiring, and uniting the community, local, and the people coming from around the world around this sport of soccer. We're obviously growing the game. We heard it from Victor this morning. It's the biggest sport in the world, not quite there yet, but we are growing it. And so we want to have the legacy be that we have represented Cincinnati well, that people from Cincinnati say, when it's over, I'm proud to be from Cincinnati. I am proud that my city was able to make this happen, and proud that the legacy of changes and investments that we've made, that they can see with their own eyes that those are ongoing. And then that the people who come to Cincinnati say, that was awesome. Maybe it wasn't on their first list of cities that they were hoping to visit in the U.S., but they came to Cincinnati and went, wow, I can't wait to get back and go tell people at home, you got to check out Cincinnati. If we do that, we'll have been successful. Anything else? All right. Again, thank you all. Thank you all very much.
See you in Cincinnati.